Since 7/7, the threat of homegrown terrorism has been something politicians have been trying to deal with. But for the last 3 days, more than 1,000 young Muslim men and women, many from the northwest, have been at the country's first ever anti-terror camp.
Yes, led by a renowned Islamic scholar, the idea is to give Muslims the tools to fight extremism from the inside. In a moment we'll hear from 3 of those from Greater Manchester who attended, but first this report from Nazia Mogra.
My life is not in hands of those people.
A summer camp with a strong message. The aim to stop young Muslims turning to terrorism.
Overall aim of this event is basically de-radicalization of youth and spiritualization of youth, to present them the moderate, peaceful vision of Islam.
They had a presentation up and they would ask as in hijab.
After the lectures, the youngsters are keen to discuss their views on religion.
Islam has been under fire recently, and it is for all the wrong reasons. It's not being portrayed as the religion that it is. It's a religion of peace, it's a religion of love. It gives all of us the opportunity, the motivation to learn more about our religion itself and then go and tackle these negativity.
And that's the point. Ayub and Wahid are from Manchester. On this bus, they're taking on board how to tackle extremist views.
You pass on the knowledge that you gain, and you encourage good activity as a human being, really. Neighbours, all sorts, community. See any bad action, you take action as much as you can possibly do.
It's the first anti-terror camp in the UK, and this is why. Growing concern that a minority of disaffected youngsters are being brainwashed by extremists, turning to terror camps and losing the true meaning of the Quran.
The biggest threat to human society is terrorism. So our responsibility is to propagate Islam in its true perspective. It is totally against every kind of extremism and terrorism.
The 3-day course is now over. It's been an education. Now the hundreds of youngsters are heading back to their communities to put what they've learned into practice. Nazia Mogra, BBC Northwest Tonight.
Well, here with us in the studio are Haider Khan, Jabin Ali and Dawood QADRI from Oldham and Manchester, and you all attended this anti-extremism camp. Tell me why.
I think for myself, because I do a lot of local community work within the Oldham area, it was important for me, because I think majority of Muslims, the majority are against extremism, but we don't know how to combat effectively the terrorists, the radical thoughts and their propaganda material. So when I saw the advertisements for this camp, the anti-terror camp, I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to gain the tools that I need to go back into the local community, go back to where I come from, and give the responses that effectively deal with the issue, and hopefully, slowly, it will prevent future.
I mean, we might explore what those tools are in a moment, but Dawood, how often do you come across extremism and extremist views in your life?
Okay, well, directly, not so much, but whilst I was at university, there were always those sorts of voices in the background. Just people angry over British foreign policy, Iraq, Afghanistan, for example. So there were always angry reactionary voices that, you know, could be heard there.
And could you see people getting sucked into it and being radicalised?
I couldn't actually see the radicalisation happening so much, but you could see like a mix of people who were perhaps on the brink and people who were perhaps a bit further gone.
Well, Jabin, I mean, we're talking about the tools you've now got to fight it, but extremists will often say, well, look what's happened in Iraq, look what's happened in Afghanistan, look what's happened in Palestine. We have every right to fight and carry out a war against it. So how do you counter that?
The bottom line is that in Islam, violence isn't right. Killing innocent people isn't right. That's the bottom line. So regardless of whether people in Palestine are being killed, in Iraq they're being killed, it's not right. We learnt in the lecture there is other ways of combating this. We live in a democracy, and you have the right to vote, you can peacefully protest, you can lobby. These are more effective tools, more in line with Islamic teachings than...
So do you feel that now that you've been to this camp, you'll have a stronger, louder voice to combat those minorities who are extreme?
I think most definitely, because like we've mentioned, it's giving us the right answers, the answers we've all been looking for, the answers I think the majority of the Muslims needed. And
the knowledge, the
religious arguments, because one of the things that most radicals do is twist verses of the Quran and the Hadith, the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, we've actually learnt how these have been twisted, the actual meanings, and one of the main things is that we learnt was the actual meaning of jihad, which in no way, we were clearly told in no way, in anywhere in the Quran does it say jihad means a holy war. We were given the actual several explanations of what jihad is, and these are the kind of tools we can take back to our community.
Okay, that's fascinating stuff, and thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. Appreciate it very much.